Hi guys, my name is Kirsty and welcome back to Upside Down Books. Today we are going to be looking at my May wrap-up.
Non più tra I farfalloni amorosi.
So actually, May. Look, May was not great. I am really disappointed with how little reading I did in May, and look, it wasn't my fault because I actually just had a really busy month with university and getting studies done, and I have discussed this in my TBR video, so let's not rehash the same point, but basically this is gonna be a really short wrap-up video. I am gutted that I didn't get around to the books that I pulled out of my TBR jar, and I'm really sad that I just didn't get around to more books in general. I'm in such a good mood for reading, and I'm sure that as soon as I submit my final assignment, that mood will be gone. But I'm a little bit devastated with how busy I was, and I got off on the wrong foot with a couple of books, and it just meant that I snowballed into failure. So if you haven't seen my TBR video, I'll leave a card up above so you can see my explanations as to how I'm going to be tackling the books that I didn't get around to and what I'm going to be reading in June, but I'm not going to talk about that in this video again. So let's just get in and have a look at the 3 books that I did get to, and amazingly it was only physical books that I read this month. I actually didn't finish a single audiobook. I don't know why, because I'm currently driving to and from work every day, and I'm honest to God not sure how I didn't finish it, because I'm currently reading The Testaments by Margaret Atwood, and it's not because I'm not enjoying it. I'm actually really enjoying it, but for some reason I have just not really sat down. I guess I've just been busy. Who knows? Let's just get into the video. So the first book that I read was Bridget Jones's Diary by Helen Fielding, and this was one of my TBR pick that I started with, and I didn't like this. I just didn't like it. I rated it 2 out of 5 stars in the end because I found this horrifyingly outdated. It wasn't so much as like funny self-deprecating humor as just outright old-fashioned views about what women should look like and should behave, that sort of thing. Because if you think about the film, I think the film has just a certain level of polish over the top of it that makes it more funny than depressing and wrong, I guess. It's hard to explain, but I was really anticipating that I was going to love this. But it took me like 2 or 3 weeks, most of May, to get through this because I wasn't really enjoying it, and I really considered actually DNFing it at about the 80% mark, but also felt that DNFing at 80% would be even more unsatisfying because then I couldn't even have the satisfaction of saying I'd finished it. So I did struggle through this one, but I just didn't like it. I just found it lacking. I found it like I was just shocked and horrified by all the stuff that Bridget was thinking, with the exception of a few great quotes, as there are, and we know from the film, which the quotes have been taken from this book. There are a few good moments. There are a few good moments, but on the whole, would not recommend this. If you like the film, just watch the film and leave it there because I don't think this is worth it. That was a terrible start to the month, but it's been on my TBR for ages, so this was really satisfying to at least go, it's done, it's dusted, and I don't have to think about it anymore. However, the other books that I read in May were so much better. In fact, I think I may have actually read one of these books before Bridget Jones, but that doesn't really matter. The next book was Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. Now, this one wasn't on a TBR, I just decided that I wanted to read it. I've been really in the mood for fantasy at the moment. So this was actually gifted to me for Christmas 2019 by my friend Sarah, and I am so pleased that I got around to reading it. I know that loads of people love Susan Dennard, and she kind of had a bit of epic hype around these books when they first came out because she's Sarah J Maas's good friend, so Sarah J Maas was helping boost the publicity for this book, and it did really well. I ended up rating this one 4 out of 5 stars because I did really enjoy it, but I just felt that there was something more that I think we're going to get in the sequels that will achieve that 5-star rating for me. So this was super enjoyable. It was actually quite an easy one to read. I think it did take me longer than it should have done because I was so busy, but I loved this and I cannot wait to read the sequel. I loved all the unexpected piracy. I am seeing it as piracy in this book because they were on pirate ships essentially for such a long part of the plot, and there's a really cool magic system that's happening in here, and I just really liked it. I also really liked the relationship between Sophia and Isolde. It's like a sisterly relationship, but there were definitely times where I was querying whether it was going to be LGBT+, which it's not going to be as far as I can see, but yeah, there's some really great characters in here and lots of great sort of character dynamics within the relationships that are going on, and such a good, just simple quest sort of storyline. All the characters are trying to achieve one thing and they're all going about it in different ways and using each other to get there, and it's really interesting. There's just so many things that have been hinted at throughout the story that we know we're going to come back in the next in the next installment and get revisited in further depth, and I just thought that was really cool. So this was an excellent book and I would definitely be recommending it. So that brings us rather rapidly to the final book that I read, which was Hunted by Megan Spooner. This book was, oh my god, amazing. I am so impressed by this story. So this was given to me at Christmas again. It was another gift that I've gotten around to. So even though I haven't read my TBR jar, I have been making progress towards one of my goals, which is to read recommendations, so that's a good thing. But Hunted is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast and it is set in medieval Russia. Megan Spooner you've probably heard of. It might be Megan. I apologise if I'm saying it wrong. And she's written quite a few things before. Now I have read Unearthed, which is Megan Spooner and somebody, Amy Kaufman, and I didn't like that. I actually didn't like that book, so I was a little bit worried going into this, but I thought this was perfect. I loved the way the retelling was approached because Spooner hasn't really changed it. Like when Sarah J Maas wrote A Court of Thorns and Roses, that was supposed to be a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but I felt like it didn't need to be a retelling. Sarah J Maas had already created a story that was different enough that you had to kind of really look hard to see the whole Beauty and the Beast thing. I mean, like, you didn't, but you did. I think if you've read it, you know what I mean. But this one is like very obviously drawing a lot of parallels between the original and the classic fairy tale versus the story that she spun here, and I thought it was really fantastic. The Russian elements aren't that prominent. It is mostly just place names and the names of the characters are Russian, but other than that, it could just be any old little town. But yeah, I really liked this. The characters are spliced between an introductory page of the Beast's thoughts and then the narration by the main character in this one. So this was just really good. It was a great strong female lead with the main character who is dubbed Beauty, being able to hunt and having lots of unwomanly skills in this time and era. So this was fantastic. This was a 5-star read and it has landed on my all-time favourite list for sure. So unfortunately quite a poor reading month for May for me, but I've still read at least 2 good books in the last month, and considering how much I was struggling to pick up a book, I'm glad that I've at least achieved 3. But this is unfortunately definitely putting me on the back foot for my overall reading goal, which I have now officially lowered on Goodreads. I was originally aiming for 95 books in 2020, but I have realised that I'm probably never going to catch up on like the 13 or 14 books behind that I am, and I lowered it to 80, so I'm still 8 books behind that goal, and we may not get anywhere near there, but I'm going to try really hard. I'm really hoping that as soon as I hand in my final assessments for this semester that I'm going to sit down and do lots and lots of reading, and I'm really excited because I've got some amazing books that are coming out in my book haul, which will be coming out on Saturday, and I'm really excited to share those with you because I have so many that I got for my birthday and it's incredible. So So yeah, I'd love to know your thoughts if you've read any of these, especially if you've read Bridget Jones's Diary, what you thought about it. But other than that, I'll leave this video here and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.